Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Holy Cross Band's Downbeat with Alumni podcast. Here on the show, we take a look into the lives and achievements of college musicians who brought you the good time in different Holy Cross Band's ensembles during their time at Holy Cross. Today, we are interviewing Andrea Bucknam. She is from Wethersfield, Connecticut, and graduated from the recent class of 2020 as a chemistry major at Holy Cross. She is a percussionist, specifically a mallet player, and performed in the concert band and percussion ensembles. She also had a brief stint in orchestra. Most notably, though, she served as the drum major for the Holy Cross Good Time Marching Band during her junior and senior years. Outside of music, Andrea has done extensive research in chemistry for the school and has won the following awards for all her work in chemistry, all awarded by the Holy Cross Chem Department, which includes the research in the Schoenbrenn Lab. She's won the Locke Muller Award. She's been given the title of Best Academic Conference Presentation and has won the American Institute of Chemists Award. Andrea is wicked smart and all around. She's one of the very first people I met when I joined band. So I just want to thank you for being here, Andrea.
Thanks so much, Dennis. Thanks for the introduction. It's very nice.
Thank you. And to anyone who's listening, this is the second time we've done this introduction. Somebody forgot to press the record button.
It's okay. Marching band is all about false starts.
Exactly. So, without further ado, I like to start off by asking our guests what were their humble beginnings in music. So when did you start playing, and what has made you stick around with music for so long?
Yeah, so great question, Dennis. So I started out playing piano when I was 5, and then I started playing cello in 4th grade. And then in high school, I played cello like the whole time. But my freshman year, since I played piano, my orchestra director asked me if I wanted to try playing mallet percussion, since it was the same setup of the notes. And so I gave it a shot. And then completely against any prediction I ever had, I joined marching band in the front ensemble. And so I did that all through high school. And it was the best experience ever. I made really great friends, and we were super competitive. So it was sort of like a really serious part of it was like the intense rehearsals and all that, and the competition days were long. And then joining high school or college marching band, it was like all the fun parts, but and still the seriousness of like putting together a finished product. But the good time part was really special to me, that it was like all the really fun parts of being in a music group with people without the 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. days. So.
No, exactly. I feel like when I was looking to join band, I thought the good time moniker was so cheesy, but they knew what they were doing, because that literally has described myself and yours and many other people's experience with band, specifically marching band at Holy Cross. It's just a good time.
Yeah, and it's like a good feeling to be around people who all want to like put together something good. Like we're not being sloppy. Like we're having productive rehearsals and stuff and putting together a good like final performance. But it's all about like, I'm glad that the focus of the group is having fun, and like that's definitely what kept me in it, was like because like I started playing piano, you do that completely by yourself, and like that was like fun. I still love to play piano, but then like what kept me like involved in music through college was the people. Like that's what you go to dinner with them and then you go to rehearsal. Like that's what kept me wanting to do it in college, for sure.
Oh my god, yeah. You really well. Like people are productive, people want the same thing, and kind of goes unmentioned, but people are also really there's a lot of really talented people that come to as much of a small, tiny ensemble as it is. And there's also some really, really smart people. You and I were talking about this earlier, and it's just like, that's kind of one reason why I wanted to do this. because so many people will walk through this organization and they're so smart and so talented and so honest about it. So I just want to highlight people like you who have come through the band program.
Well, I hope someone interviews you in a couple years, Dennis.
Oh boy, I don't think anybody's as crazy as me to start up a
the official personnel manager tasks should include this.
I think that'll scare away a lot of people from being personnel manager. For anyone listening, I think personnel and alumni relations manager, the long out of every position on eBoard, and also the one that has traditionally done the least amount of work, besides like three mandated tasks. You make the name tags at band camp, which I remember having a ball doing with Ryan Fay. You send out the absentee form, and you tell Dr. Jennings who's absent at the start of rehearsal. I think that's the 3 things you were expected to do the whole entire year.
Yeah. So I mean, this year, I guess, is a special year for the alumni relations part of it, you know, like.
Yeah. So I think the bar too high. I think with this project, if this became mandated, I think I'd scare people away. But you know, this isn't a personnel alumni relations analysis podcast. This is a band podcast, and we are Andrea Bucknam. So
everyone on eBoard can do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wanted to say about the people in band. I think it was Jake and Kerry, so we should link them down below. But Jake and Kerry did a study when they were personnel managers to get the average GPA of people in band, because a lot of people at the like recruitment desk would ask, and you probably heard them ask this since you did that, but they'd ask like, if you're in band, do you struggle with balancing your schoolwork? And like the answer is obviously yes, but like the fact was, I think the band average GPA was higher than the average GPA at school. So like people in band like actually do better. Obviously not because of band, but like I don't know, I guess you have like built-in friends from the beginning, so you can spend time on school. I don't know, like I don't know how to explain it, but
I love that. One, I didn't know that. I would love to hear the exact number. I can
definitely ask them for it.
Yeah, and I can believe it too. And I wholeheartedly believe that the reason it's so high is because people like you, Kerry, Jake,
Chris.
You guys carry us. No pun intended.
Oh, I'm worried Chris Wadilla put in like his 6.0 or something.
And yeah, I can only imagine that the type of people who would try and look for the average GPA of a specific group would be people with pretty outstanding academic records.
It's true, yeah.
I could totally believe that.
Yeah.
If I ever find out the number, we'll put it down below.
Yeah, definitely ask.
That's so funny.
I know. I was glad that they did that, because then like when people ask at recruitment events, like if it's hard to balance schoolwork, they can factually say, we actually do better than most people.
We're a pretty smart group.
Yeah. We work hard.
We'll get to talking about academics in a little bit. But you've been involved in a lot of music, but you've been involved in even more so in chemistry. So a similar question, but for your chemistry background, what is it about chemistry that makes you so passionate about it?
Yeah, so I love this question. Well, one, it's really cool. like I'm just constantly engaged by it, and like the fact that you can use it for so many things is like crazy to me, that like we can literally look at a problem and solve it with things that you've learned in the classroom, which I think is the coolest thing ever. But specifically, like the kind of research that I do is, and that I want to keep doing in the future, is synthetic chemistry. So basically making things that, like what I would want to do is like pharmaceutical development. So like if someone's body can't make a certain molecule, but we know how to make that, like we can do that. And I think that's amazing to take like what we can learn from nature and learn from other chemists and what they learned from nature. And like, I mean, one really good description I heard of it from someone who's going to be at in my lab at grad school is they said that it's like making time for people. So like you are making drugs that can help them live and help them live with disease, or you're helping them, like if you're just working on one step of a reaction, like if it takes 10 steps to go from the product to the final target, then you can make that process shorter. And so you're literally making time for people, and that's the best description I think I've ever heard of it. So I think it's so cool that you can like use these things that you learn about. And like, when you learn something in a classroom from a textbook, it feels like there's some kind of distance, and then doing research like bridged that distance for me. And I think it's so cool that you can like actually use this stuff and then implement it in such interesting ways. And like it's kind of addicting almost, like too, like what keeps you in research. It's like
chemistry is addicting, both physically and literally.
Making drugs. No. Yeah. No, it's like yeah, Breaking Bad, but no, it's like every day, like you walk into lab and you think I'm going to be here for 15 minutes, I'm stopping by on my way to band. And then it's like, you could be there for hours every single day. There's always something to do and always more that you can be doing. And like, it's just cool to feel like you're like really productively doing something. Like, I mean, I know that when I don't know how to do something, I'll look it up in like a research journal or something like that. And so like to one day get something into a research journal that somebody could use to do what they need to do, I think is so neat that like every contribution to chemistry is like a web of like a butterfly effect of so many different things. Like if it's just chemistry, more chemistry, more chemistry, and then someone makes something that really helps people. Like what I'm most interested in is like pharmaceuticals, but then someone I know who did research at UMass Amherst is doing like a million different ways to make a solar panel. And so they're kind of like Thomas Edison in it, like trying a million things and seeing which one works. But it's pretty cool. And so that's what keeps me into it is like, I don't know, you never know when the next thing you do is going to be like the best thing. So it's compelling to stay in it.
That's incredible. I think
so many reasons.
Yeah. And I love that. I love talking to people who are genuinely passionate about their academic interest. And I've always had, I remember taking chemistry sophomore year and I was terrible at it, but I loved seeing the people who were like genuinely passionate about it. And I don't know, and I've always been curious, like, oh man, like I like chemistry, I'm terrible at it. And
well, I mean, chemistry, I hated chemistry in high school.
Really?
So yeah, it's so weird. I thought I was going to go into bio, like for sure. I was like maybe biochem, but then a Holy Cross professor told me take chem first. It's easier to switch into bio than it is to switch into chem. So I took chem and then I never took a bio class.
I have a similar story. I hated history in high school.
You hated it?
Hated history. I had a 1.
Oh, history. Oh my gosh.
History.
Wow. What?
I had a 1 on the AP US exam. Beginnings.
And now here you are.
Yeah, here I am. But that was the way you described your passion for chemistry, making time for people, the process of constantly creating something, contributing to that process. That I'm struggling to come up with those words, and I'm a humanities major. It's like I should be the one who can say things artfully, but I'm so in awe by passion for it that I can't match. You described it just now, and that's something I've noticed with a lot of my friends who are in STEM. I think with we grow up, we watch TV, and maybe people have grown up with specific people in high school, and it's like, oh, the humanities people are so eloquent with their words.
Yeah.
Science people, it's just like, oh, straight up lab reports and all that
Yep.
stuff.
Can't write. Like,
Yeah. So many of my STEM friends are some of the best speakers and writers I've ever met. I think you just described your passion for chemistry so beautifully. Kerry, just
oh
a
my God.
wonderful person. My roommate, um, my first year, who actually was in a lab with Chris Wadilla. He's one of the smartest
Oh,
people
yeah.
in my life.
Yeah.
Yes, talk about small campus.
Yeah.
Chris,
Henry.
of course, Henry.
Oh my God.
So many great. I think chemistry up there with band. Chemistry people are some of the best.
I think chemistry at Holy Cross especially is really close. Like it's a really because like you're in the lab groups together, so it's like like your sections in band, like you have your like little like mini team within the whole like greater part of things. So
Mm.
you just spend a lot of time with each other. But
And in terms of the work you actually do, especially in today's political climate, COVID-19 has truly brought to light the amount of science disbelievers in our society, which completely dumbfounds me because science is fact. Like, you wouldn't believe in that. I'm so sorry that your education has failed you in such a way that you won't believe scientists. But even beyond that, even if you don't believe in science, I say, even if you don't believe in them, just meet someone in the STEM fields. They are so nice. Harry, Chris, Henry, Dr. Fauci.
right, like no one's doing it because they
Yeah.
hate helping people. Like
No, exactly.
literally, that's what science does.
That's really what it boils down to. Science helps people. Biology
Yeah.
is literally the study of life. It's all around us. Scientists, in the end, I'm so sorry that you're still stuck in your 8-year mindset. You still view scientists as nerds.
Right. Like,
But I've met scientists who are more social than me. I'm a pretty awesome guy. And I've met so many nice chemists like yourself, and all you want to do is help people. And so even if you don't believe in science, I think you just believe that scientists are just there to help.
Yeah, like if we were trying to lie about this many things, I hope we would make it a lot easier to understand.
Exactly. Yeah, but seriously, that was love the passion for chemistry.
Thanks, Dennis.
Yeah. So with all of that, I wanted to ask, who were your 3 biggest influences in the following? Who were your biggest influences in chemistry, in music, and in life?
Good question. Good question. So chemistry is first, right?
Yes.
Okay, so chemistry is probably my research advisor and my dad. So my dad he does like software engineering, so with computers, and so when he has like a project, he gets very like that is what he is doing all day long. Like he's very, very focused on it. And so and that's sort of like when I'm trying to do a problem or something, or like working on something in lab and like nothing's working, I'm like, well, this is kind of like when my dad was like trying to build this thing and it wasn't working. Like, and you just work through it and go into the zone and just try to push through it. And like not avoid it, just keep working hard at it. And so and like the curiosity, I think, comes from my dad and my mom for that one, but like a healthy curiosity about things. Like we're always talking about like, well, like how does that work? What happens with that and stuff like that. So that's definitely from him. And then my research advisor is I can't even. So this is Professor Scolambrini, the one that you mentioned before. She's so she was on medical, or no, I won't start with that. I'll start with, I met her my sophomore year, so I never had her for any classes. And then we did, I did summer research with her after my sophomore year. And then I've been in her lab ever since. And so it's been like, it's definitely like a road of discovering how we like read each other, you know, like because you're working with people so closely, and like I was nervous and she's like you're new, and so it's like you're learning about each other, and then you're also learning the lab too, so it's like definitely a learning curve like starting off. But then I feel like once I learned enough about the project and I had like settled in, we got really like good at working together. And like I loved like going to her office and asking her, you know, like just any question about the project, and she was so knowledgeable and so like she's just such a good teacher. Like completely no overstatement. Like she's just such an amazing like knowledge provider person. Like I don't know, like she's just so good at like thinking things through. And also like looking back at my experience like starting, she's so good at like reading new students. Like she's so like now that I've watched her like mentor other people, like I've realized that like her style is just so effective and so good. And like so I was just really like cool from a retrospective perspective, like looking at her, how like we started off and how we are now, and then watching her mentor other people was really cool to see that like it's all part of the process. It's all about like learning with her. And like so basically she's amazing. And then this year she was on medical leave all for the fall, and so it was obviously really hardest for her, especially obviously, and her family. And we were I was amazed that we could still run her lab and still do work for her in her lab. And I felt so like just in awe of her that like she had trained us well enough that she could leave for a full semester and still be productive. Like the fact that she could not even be on campus and still be like having stuff get done was incredible. Like so just her teaching style, her mentor style is so amazing. And if I can ever know 1/10 of all the things that she knows, I'll be proud of myself.
I think there's a quote I remember being told
Yeah.
when I was graduating high school, was that the master has only succeeded if the student has surpassed the master.
Ooh.
I gotta say, she sounds amazing, and I think being able to read students and have students prepared in case they were ever gone, I think that's the sign of a good teacher, and I think that speaks volumes to you as a person as well.
Yeah, like the fact that she trusted us to do that was amazing. Like to have taught people well enough that they could keep going, and it is amazing. And then she came back actually while during her medical leave. She spent the semester developing a completely online notebook system. So even while she was gone, she was like innovating how we do chemistry at Holy Cross. Like she's incredible, incredible woman. But then the next one was music, right?
Music and life, yeah.
Okay, so music, probably my high school band director and my mom. So my mom is the one who like started me with piano, and she was always like she'd like encourage me to practice, but she was always like she'd encourage the like fun parts more. Like if I really didn't want to practice, but like you have the lesson, like you have to go, like she'd be like, okay, then play a fun song, like at least warm up, like at least play something fun. And so and like
That's really sweet.
Yeah, no, it was really
smart.
like
Yeah.
it was really encouraging, because then I'm like, okay, yeah, I want to play that song. Like, and it wasn't like it was never about being like the best at it. Like I was definitely like a perfectionist about it sometimes. Like if I couldn't get something, I would get really frustrated. But like it was a healthy sort of mentality of like, remember why you're doing this. Like you're doing it for fun. And in high school, like high school marching band can get really serious, like really fast.
Oh yeah.
like you think you're having 1 minute, and then they're like, okay, like we're gonna stand in the sun for 8 hours. Like so
how much I would give to not go back.
Yeah, like so happy I did it, but never again.
Yeah.
And so like she was always very like when I was, like making my like section leader binders and like flipping through like 80 scores and stuff, she was like, remember why you're still doing this for fun, right? And I was like, yeah, I'm still doing it for fun, like I think. Like But so
No,
that's why.
kudos to your mom. That's a really cool way of approaching that. Like, remember why you're pursuing this.
Yeah, and then I think that's what made the Good Time Band so like appealing to me. It's like because that's why you do it. It's like the
That like lines up exactly with what your mom has like told you your whole life.
yeah, like you don't have to play to be the best. Like, of course, it's fun if you get really good, but like you don't have to. Like so
Remember
that
your
was
roots.
always
Remember
like
why you're doing it.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Like it's all about band dinner. It's you know. And then in life, such a tough one. I think like I feel like my parents for sure, like just as a unit, influenced me a lot. For both those ways, like the chemistry way and the music way. Um, and then I mean I guess like all of those people kind of bring it all home. Like if I'm being really honest, like besides those people, like my research advisor and my parents, it's definitely been like I don't know if this is cheesy, but like my friends at Holy Cross like have really really been a strong influence on me, like in an extremely positive way. Um, like I know Jake was a huge influence on me, not to validate him too much. Just kidding, I would always validate him, but like Jake was a huge influence on me, like from the beginning, like from the start. Like he was the kind of friend who like wants you to get the best out of things, like he would always be like I don't know if I was like, oh, I should go hang out with these people, but I don't really want to. He'd be like, no, you hang out with people that you want to hang out with. Like have fun. Like do what makes you happy. And like from the start, Jake's been such an amazing friend. And then obviously Kerry, like um just like her commitment to everything she does is so amazing. And I mean every single person, I feel like I could say something for every single person. And not to get cheesy, but like Kevin like has influenced me so much in like such a positive way. Like I feel like influenced has such a negative connotation, but like Kevin is just so good at like knowing like how I don't know, just navigating everything like is so much like I don't know, he's so good at seeing things very clearly where I'll be like, oh my God, what do I do? And Kevin's like, just it's okay. Like, like I don't know. So not to get cheesy, but like Kevin has been a huge influence on me, like as far as navigating like any situation, like in a positive way and coming through things like positively. So, and then as a collection, like all of my all the group, like like Sydney from the very beginning, uh, Chris Wadilla, oh my God. um, yeah, Chris Wadilla, also from the very beginning. Um, just an amazing friend. Like all of them just showed me how to be an amazing friend, I hope, and I hope I've returned it to them. But they've all been examples of amazing friends. And like you said, like that's something that comes from band. Like it's just such a great group, and like I hope your year has the same thing where it seems like you guys are really close.
They're okay. I think, yeah. I guess speaks volumes about someone who can praise the people in their life. You definitely have been surrounded by some standout people, and if they're watching this, you are certainly going to have a good mixture of tears and definitely get a big head from this.
Jake will. Yeah.
That's all right.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they're really just the best group of people. Like I feel so lucky to have known them, let alone, and like you said, like saying nice things about your friends. Like that's like something that Jake and Kevin always do, like all of them. But I think from the beginning, I noticed it most about them, like freshman year. Like I don't know, how in high school, like everyone's a little mean.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
Like everyone's just like a little mean.
That's a perfect way of putting it. I remember coming to my like 2 months into Holy Cross. I remember,
Yeah.
wow, everyone's so nice. And that's like, maybe the people at college aren't nice. Maybe the people in high school were just too.
Like I got to like I was ending high school and I was like, I don't want to spend all day every day with people. Like they're so mean. And then
Yeah, like 7
like
hours at a time. That's
a lot. But then like you get to college and everyone wants to get to know you and everybody's so nice. And like I remember like one of the first times I was talking to Kevin, he was like, yeah, my friend Adam, he has like the best hair, and like my friend Will, he's like so smart. And I was like, you are so nice to your friends. And I like, and obviously I've met them now, but it's like way back then, it's like we did like I don't know, it's just like people who are just so nice
I
about.
think that I think people who are comfortable and openly express just talk about people, making compliments about their friends. Like it sounds
Yeah.
simple, but that it's less common than you might think, and it speaks volumes of a person if they constantly hype up the people they're around in life.
Yeah, no, and like hyping people up is like I feel like such a band thing too. Like like here we go, Chris. Here we go, Steven. Like that was a meme for what, 2.5 years? Like
Oh my god,
no, way before that. Anyone watching this is gonna be like, no, that was like because I'm pretty sure they did that like my freshman year. Like
it
seniors
feels
were
like it.
my freshman year.
Yeah,
So like it must have been way
I
earlier.
love it.
Like it's just like I know it's like ironic, but like it's kind of not, you
It's
know? Like
yeah, no, it's the perfect level of genuine and irony.
yeah.
Describes a lot of band.
That's like our whole show. Like that's our theme.
Genuine, but also pretty ironic.
Right. Like genuine, but I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Like,
Speaking of, just genuinely funny,
yeah.
ironic moments. You are such a standout student leader. There's a very distinct story that told me in percussion ensemble, and if you don't want to tell it, that's all right. But to people listening, maybe they want to hear. So,
Yeah.
could you tell us about the hilariosity that was your first week of band camp at Holy Cross,
Oh
specifically
my god.
a marching glockenspiel?
Yeah. Yeah, I can. Um, yeah, that was really so I was told at my recruitment event that they would try to have a mallet pit like for people who played mallet percussion because Sydney and I we were both, like, woohoo, we play mallets and they're gonna let us join marching band, so let's do that. Um, and we arrive and the drumline section leader was like, so what are you playing? And I was like, mallet percussion. He's like, we don't really do that. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. And so I was like, Mom, pick me up. Like, I was like, I don't really know. Like, I don't
I'm
play any of
scared.
these instruments.
You
So
just
then,
dropped me off like 2 hours away from home. They do
I
not
was like,
have the reason I'm
not,
here.
I'm not unpacked enough. Like, just take me home. Like, so I didn't have like an instrument that I could play, and so I was like, I don't really want to play bass drum. So the director, Dr. Riley, was like, well, I can dig out the marching glockenspiel. And no one had heard of it. Like it was in the back of a closet. Like this is why it's like covered in moss because it had been like you remember what it looks like, right?
Oh my
Like
god, yeah.
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 It's like the grodiest thing. And so
It doesn't even
it's
look legit. It looks so horribly put together.
it's
There's
so
like the
bad.
duct tape still there. It's probably
Yeah.
been there for years.
Yeah, no, that's been there since because I put it on because there was one rehearsal. So like so I started playing the marching glockenspiel and I was marching a dot with the high winds because that's like sound wise where it would sound best. But now it's really awkward because I'm like, okay, I don't really have a section now. And the other high winds were a piccolo and a clarinet. So we weren't really a section. They were both really nice. Um, but I was like, now I'm apart from drumline, apart from my one friend, Sydney. I don't know what to do now. And so, and I also, so the marching glockenspiel is like this long. So I, like longer than my arms. So I couldn't reach the end of it to like flip my music. So I would have to ask someone every time to like flip it for me on the field. And then during music rehearsals, I could put it on like a stand and I could flip it fine. But like, so that was really irritating, like not being able to like physically hold it. And then it was also really painful. Like it was just really heavy because like, I don't know, like,
Yeah, I remember you we wore it for fun once, and I swear that thing is comparable. If maybe it might be heavier than the tenors. Like that thing was
Yeah.
because it's
That's
metal.
the comparison I've heard. Like,
Yeah,
and the tenor's harness is at least adjustable. Like this harness holds it like a few inches away from your body.
yeah. It's a
So
really
it's
old
like
harness. It
really horrible for your back,
really
especially
bad
if
for your
the
back. Really
harness
stiff.
already doesn't fit. So like it was like digging into this one spot in my back. And so I went to the director Thursday morning. I made it 3 days. I went Thursday morning
Look at
and
you,
I was
what a
like,
trooper.
Dr. Riley, I have run out of Advil in 3 days. I cannot play this anymore. And I was like, I will switch to piccolo. I've never played a wind instrument, but like I'll switch to something high winds so I don't have to move my dot. Because I'd also never marched before. So I was like, I don't want to move, like I already don't know this drill. I don't know how to move. But he canceled the morning rehearsal and spent the morning writing the drill, had the drum majors run it, so that he could rewrite the drill to move me in.
They canceled rehearsal just for one person.
Yeah. Well, they moved it to an indoor music rehearsal.
Oh, okay.
And so like except it wasn't like ridiculous. Like it was fine because day 4 of band camp, everyone's fine with a break.
This is fine.
This is fine. Like little like sip, but I was feeling so guilty because everyone around me kept saying, "Why did we cancel rehearsal? Like we have our show tomorrow. Like what are we doing?" And I was like, "I'm so weak." And then the director comes out and he's like, "Okay, guys, all new drill," and I was like, "This is worse." So it was so bad, and I felt super guilty. But then,
just a quick aside. This part of the story I've never heard.
Yeah, no, this is the less fun part where it gets like real like embarrassing.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no, so it gets really awkward. But yeah, so I felt super awkward. And then
this is like office levels of cringe.
Yeah, like everyone kept asking like why did we change rehearsal? And I was like,
this is such a Michael move. Like if Michael Scott was a band director, he would be the one who cancels everything just to rewrite drill. Probably just
a dumb like freshman glockenspiel where we don't even have a part. Like I was already playing like a flute part on glockenspiel. Like I don't know. I think they should have like I don't know. I told them I would try to learn like clarinet or something, but in the end they moved the drill and I played cymbals. So
and you were better for it. And the band was better for it.
And I never complained about band again.
Honestly, after all that stuff, but look.
Yeah, no, and the duct tape is there because there's no real harness for a lyre on it. So we spent lunch every day for the first 3 days, like aggressively taping it, like redoing the tape. And I actually liked that part of the day because like, when you're a freshman, you're trying to figure out who you hang out with still, like I was grateful because like the little tape team would come over every day at lunch and be like, "All right, Andrea, let's eat fast so we can go tape."
Yeah,
like
that's kind of sweet.
So I'd be like, "Oh no, guys, we have to tape it up again. Thanks for hanging out with me." Like, so overall good. And the first 3 days of band camp were horrible. Like they were horrible during the day because of the pain, but like, my freshman class bonded really quickly. Like we had like a really great vibe from the start. So that's why I stayed. I wasn't thinking about quitting band. I just couldn't do it.
People come a long way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Even telling the story, it's crazy to think about like walking into those rehearsals was so different from walking into rehearsals like this year. Like so crazy.
That's all. Wow. Wow. The glockenspiel story and being drum major with the new band director and the Big E parade, you've had the wildest career.
And BC was crazy. We can't forget BC.
Oh my God, I forgot about BC.
My mom was showing me pictures from BC and I looked so happy in them. And I was like, I have like the craziest memories of this day, but it's all because it all happened in the last like hour. Like the whole day was fun. Like, So still
I
all
would.
good memories, but just so many weird things.
Yeah. Crazy, genuine, ironic. It's just that's
That's
sounds
banned.
so, and good for you. I think like those 3 days were like you could say initiation, and you did your time.
Yeah.
Anyone were to ever tell you that you didn't deserve to be drum major, they're wrong because you had to wear a marching glockenspiel for 3 days.
Yeah, like, and maybe
So
that comes from the
if anyone deserved not to march and to stand on a podium and run the band, it would be you.
right. I didn't have to carry anything for 2 years,
Mm.
so I
So
mean, yeah.
you have the qualities as a leader and a human being, and you did your time because you had to carry a marching glockenspiel for 3 days. So you've always been such a standout leader in all of your different pursuits. So based on all your experience, what to you makes a real leader?
Okay, so this one took me like a while to learn, like, um but so like all throughout, like in high school. So I'll, like, since we were talking about high school marching band, I'll share a quick like story about that. But basically, I think a leader is someone who makes other people like like helps other people do their job to the best of their abilities. So like looking at how I, like, when I was in high school, I was the front ensemble section leader, and I did it in a very like manic, like control freak kind of way. And maybe that carried in a little bit to when I was equipment manager, but like by the time senior year came around, I sort of realized like the best way to go about this is to like bring in as many people as possible, you know, and not in like an unwieldy, like ask so many people that you get a million different opinions kind of way, but like ask, like, if I have a question about like what time should the vans come up, I'll ask Chris because he knows all about that kind of scheduling. Or if I have a question about like who's coming to rehearsal, I'll ask their friends, like, you know, stuff like that, like simple little mini like delegating things that helps so much. And like I think the like strongest, like, I don't know how many strong leadership moments I've had, but like if I've had any, the times where I felt like I did the best job were when I let someone else do it. Like, quite honestly, it was like when I, like, let's say I could have done something myself, but I asked someone else to do it. Like, not in like a, like, I feel like that sounds patronizing, but like,
No, not
if,
at all. I understand.
like,
And I
when,
don't mean that as
like,
a joke. Like I understand what
yeah,
you're saying.
it's like, you know how the drum majors lead stretches every morning. It's like, instead of me doing it again, invite someone else up to do it, or have like um asking, like, instead of me just choosing a part in the music to start, ask people when they want to start. Or like bringing in people as much as you can to the like decision making parts. And um like those are the times where I felt like I've done the best job, is like when I'm not doing anything, like when I tell somebody else, like at the beginning of this year I kind of made like a goal for myself to like not, because I know like me and Connor, and I can't speak for Connor, but like me, like I had a hard time being a first year drum major. Like it was tough because I didn't uh
It's scary.
yeah, it's like you don't, like, you genuinely just don't know if you're doing a good job, and you don't know how to do anything really. So it was tough, but I had some, like, you know, the best role models in the world, but like it's still like the day to day is hard to navigate. And so um it was like tough to sort of figure out everything and how to do everything. But like I think the best way to do it was bringing in other people, and then like another, like, bringing in other people, but also like bringing yourself into everything, like not in a micromanage way, but like
Mm.
um so like back to the point about like um being a first year drum major, like one thing I learned was do everything and the other thing I learned was let other people do things. So like you should be doing things to learn on the ground exactly what you should be doing. So like if I'm putting out a reminder to load the vans, like I should be there loading the vans. Like like, or like when, so I learned, I don't know if you've heard this story, but I tried to learn how to play clarinet, partly just because I've always wanted to, and then also because like I knew I wanted to run for drum major, and I've never played a wind instrument. Like I'm not about to spend, you know, a year, maybe two, telling people to breathe if I haven't ever breathed into an instrument. Like,
No, that makes sense. Yeah, I think that as a leader, for you, you want to have those experiences as the people you work with, so you can
yeah,
goes a long way.
exactly. Like deeply engage with what you're doing, and like, just showing up for people, and like always, you know, like, or at sectionals, like going around to the different sections and asking people how they're doing. Like if they, like, that's another big point with bringing people in. Um, like Connor and I, like our original plan was to help lead the sectionals. Like remember at the beginning of this year, we did sectionals in all the different locations around campus. Um, I think one of the best things we did was like go work on other things during that time and let other leaders like grow during that time. Like Kerry is so much more qualified than I am to run a trumpet sectional. Like sure, like
She's
it's
okay.
the like it's the drum major's job to run sectionals, but Kerry's better. And she's amazing. So like,
And that speaks a lot. I think that speaks a lot for you as a leader because you know who to go to. You know your people well, and I think that's what. So
yeah, like showing up to everything I think is so so much. And like even just going to band dinner, like just I don't know, just be a part of everything you can be a part of. And so like basically to sum it all up, I know that was a winding road,
no, you
but
were great. That was great.
but like be as involved as you can be, but bring in other people to do things too, so that when you graduate, like um the first years have already been being like leaders in a way, you know.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah. Well, people always come. People always come a long way when you especially get to know them. And the thing is, like, it's you. This is one of the biggest lessons I've had to learn in college is that, damn, okay. I swore to myself I wanted to go for as long a period as a time without mentioning this.
Okay.
But you were always a great person to talk to in my 2 years.
Oh, thanks,
You were
Dennis.
a great drum major, and I was. This is what I didn't want to say, but in order for what I want to say to make sense, I have to bring this up. I was a drum major in high school, just a
Yeah.
brief stint. So I think it was cool to have that shared experience, and
Yeah.
everything you said encapsulates that perfectly. And that was a lesson I had to learn myself in college, out in and out of music, was that it's okay for a leader to ask for help. I think
Yeah.
much of what I tried to do in high school, looking back, I feel a little bit ashamed of because and I still do this. I still try to do everything by myself, but it's like, it's okay to ask people for help. And it will only benefit if you ask for help because people will feel valued and it really shows your mark as a leader because you understand
Yeah.
the team you're working with. It really goes a long way.
Yeah. No, I think you put that really well. Like no one's gonna wanna like not listen to you, but like no one's gonna want to go along with your ideas if you don't ever ask for theirs, or like ever like, you know, let them do what they think is right. So obviously in a group like the Good Time Marching Band, like opinions, like yes, like you've been to meetings like e-board meetings, like people oppose each other a lot, but we're all generally going for the same things, like we all,
Exactly.
you know. So
Things will get to where they need to be. Everyone will like want something different, but that's like the beauty of art. That's the beauty of band.
yeah.
Especially marching band. You have this field show. You have all these different people from different backgrounds, different skill levels, but like in the end, they all want the same thing, and they make this great show and these great experiences for people. I think that's what makes it great.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Being so deeply engaged with what you do. Yeah, I think you put that again. You put that really well, describes it perfectly. So great answer.
Yeah, like just going as many things as you can go to. Like
Exactly.
I think
So
that's
why
it.
would
But
like
also know
why
when to step back.
what like who does that how does that benefit if you miss out on a band dinner? Like
Yeah, like you have to eat. Like we know what your schedule is. Like you have band at 6. Like
that
so
was actually one of the original names was like band at 6. for the podcast, but then I
I
just,
love
Holy
that.
Cross Bands
Aw.
podcast. This simple, clean.
Yeah, that's so cute.
Now we're going to go back to the chemistry side of things.
Okay.
What are some things you've learned in your chemistry career that you've been able to carry over into music?
Oh my God. Um, this is such a good question because I actually like think about this like a lot. Because people would ask me this like at grad school interviews, like they'd be like, "So, according to your resume, you spend a lot of time doing music. Like, does that help? Does that benefit your chemistry at all?" And absolutely. like, I think like going both ways, like from like what I've learned in chemistry that helps with band is like the thoroughness, like being thorough and approaching everything like trying to prove it. Like a phrase that my research advisor used a lot is prove it to yourself that this is true. So don't just like say, okay, well, I know that last time this was the case, so now that I've run this test once, it's probably the same as the first one, so we'll just go with that. Like, no, like try to prove it to yourself and prove like through many different ways, like how you would show someone else or how you'd want someone to show you what you found is what you think it is. um and so that goes for like in band, it's like if I'm trying to encourage memorizing music, or if we're running a field rehearsal, like be as thorough as you can be, like as if it's not to make it sound not fun, but like in a very analytical way, like and obviously like
You're being really
analytic.
you've been so great at being modest about this whole thing. Like, oh, I don't mean to be like this, but you're doing great. I wanna let you know.
Thanks, Dennis.
Yeah.
I just don't want the like title on this video to be like the dictator drum major. Like
No.
I feel like
Trust me, you don't
um
come off as a dictator on. You've never come off.
okay,
So
that's
no
good.
worries.
That's good. But
Yeah.
yeah, so like just the thoroughness of like checking everything. And like as far as a band rehearsal goes, it's like, if you notice someone who looks like they're struggling, like in chemistry, you would never like see something on fire and ignore it. So like on the field, if you notice someone's having an off day, maybe like call some sectionals, give them a break. Like I don't know, like do some like I don't know. And obviously those are two extremely different scenarios, but like approaching problems in a way that's like looking at everything as a whole and trying to address the individual pieces. So like I know it meant a lot to me, like just since we were talking about the marching glockenspiel, it meant a lot to me when someone would ask me like, "Hey, you look like you're in pain. Are you okay?" And like that made me feel like, oh my gosh, like they care. And like I guess obviously they would care about someone having back pain, but like it's still like it meant a lot to me. And so um yeah, like I think approaching problems in a way that looks at the whole but helps the individuals is um what I bring to both, I guess. Does that make any sense?
No, absolutely. And you mentioned the whole self, and I'm not even sure if you did that on purpose, but like we go to a Jesuit school, and one of the main Jesuit missions is taking care of the whole self. Like what you
Yeah,
described aligns with that perfectly. And I'm not even sure whether you did that on purpose or
I
not.
did not.
Man,
You're a
talk about someone.
personalis.
Well, regardless, just the fact that you said that without even realizing it just shows like you got the whole Holy Cross package. You really the Jesuit ideas without even realizing it, and I think
Yeah, it's pretty ingrained.
yeah. And we go to liberal arts school, and as I'm going through, like, going into my junior year, which is crazy. I met you when you were a
Oh my god.
junior.
Oh, that's crazy.
And we go to liberal arts school, and we're exposed to so many different academic fields, and uh, neither one of us are music majors, and yet we are equally as into band as someone possibly could be.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why I started this, because everyone that goes through music, regardless of whether they seriously study it or not, I I've been doing this for so long. So like they're more often than not, there's a big reason why they do this. And yeah, there's a good handful of people. You could sum it up easily. oh, I'm just in it for my friends. Oh, I'm just using it as a resume builder, which, by the way, I hate that reason.
Yeah.
I'm
For
not going to
most
go into my
things.
usual 10-minute rant, but if you're doing something for a resume, you are a terrible person. No, you're not. I'm not a fan of that. But
Agreed.
it's like you said, just love what you do, be deeply engaged with it. And that's the cool thing about what we've been able to take away from being at a liberal arts school. And of course, it really does depend on how much you put in, but we're able to draw these different connections to different fields. And you go to any employer and they'll see what you're doing. It's like, oh, how does chem connect with music? And you and I, maybe I've had my own doubts, like, oh man, maybe I should be doing a little less music. But in the end, it's something I love, and I've taken away so much from it. And it's very clear that you have too. Spoiler alert: Andrea's pursuing her PhD at Dartmouth, and clearly she's done everything right to get there. And don't be afraid to do
It's
music if
one
you're going
thing.
to college. And that's so cool. Hearing that is so cool about you. You're serious about chemistry and you serious about band and you love both, and they both complement each other in so many different ways. And just the lesson of thoroughness, and that the analogy you said about proving it to yourself, like
Yeah.
tests in not just in chem but in band, in your different facets of life. That's super cool to me. So
Yeah, no, I love that. And I love thinking about that. Like obviously in chem, like that works very well for like from a science, how science works standpoint, but then like with like, I don't know, everything, just putting in the legwork for stuff is, I feel like, a huge lesson I learned from band. In band, literally legwork, but like in, you know,
literally.
yeah.
Man, so we're reaching the end of things. Um,
Yes.
so just one more small question. One of the last ones we'll ask. So after all this, after 4 years at Holy Cross, BC, the B parade, drum major, marching glockenspiel, running your own chem lab. After all of that, what experience, if you look back at it all, two-part question.
Okay.
Experiences will arise first, and what messages would you have for incoming first years? So two
Oh,
big questions, though.
yeah. So first part, um, as far as like experiences that arise first, I promise it's not just because we've been talking about band for 90 minutes, but band. Like if I'm being really honest, like, you know, waking up from a coma and someone asking me about Holy Cross, it's band. Like that's where it began, that's where it all started. Like the first table I went to at recruitment was band. It wasn't the chem table, it was the band table. Like, and I wasn't even in it for like the serious marching band. I was just like, I wanted to like be um a part of that. And so it was and like the friends, like I know that's a cheesy answer, but like the friends, the people, just everybody sticking together. Like I feel so lucky that I've been, best friends with the same people for all of college pretty much. So um definitely band comes to mind first. Um and like obviously I think about it a lot, but um everything I've learned in band too is like, so much, like from high school and from probably more so from college, but um just some amazing experiences that, like, if someone asked me, tell me about Holy Cross, I would talk about band first. I have a lot of great things to say about the chemistry department too, but band for sure. And then you asked about, was it advice for incoming first years?
Yeah.
The biggest thing, like going back to like what I've learned in college and like leadership advice and stuff, but going off of that, just show up. Like literally the best advice that I can give to anybody is just show up. Like show up for your friends, show up for rehearsal, for class, like even like a phone call. Like if you know, like I don't know, like I know sometimes I'll just randomly call my brother because I'm like, I don't know what he's doing, so I'll give him a call. Like just show up for people. Like I don't know. And um some of the best, like, you know how sometimes you're sitting there and you're like, I really don't know if I want to go to band tonight. I have so much work to do. Like, the best thing you can do is just go. Like, just go to band. It's an hour and a half. Or
When you
like,
go, sometimes you feel better coming out.
yeah, exactly. Or if I'm like thinking about canceling something because I think I'm too busy, like, you're never too busy to go have coffee with a friend or like go chat with someone in the science library. Like, I don't know. Like, you're never and you're never too busy to spend time alone either. Like, obviously there are times where maybe it makes sense to not, sit and watch Netflix in your room alone, but like there are times where it does make sense,
Right.
like that hour before concert band, like we just nap. Like, I don't know, it's like there's there like, just if I have any advice for first years, just show up. Like, whatever it is you don't want to go to, just go to it, and like it'll probably be fun. And if it's not, you can leave. You live a 5-minute walk from your dorm wherever you're going. So um even like band dinner, that's another example of showing up. Like, just go to it. Or like moving stuff for the van. Like, if you always helped move stuff at the van, and like so did like Nick and Lily, and like they're equipment managers now. They're all on eBoard. Like, it's
When you show up, it goes along. It not only helps yourself, it goes a long way for the people there too.
yeah, and like I feel like, Charlie on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia with the like like the red string, but of like trying to connect all these things. But like, yeah, like I think that's the biggest thing, is just go do it. And like, but know when to show up for yourself too. Like, know when to like go take that pre-concert band nap.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
absolutely. But like there was one time I was like walking by, you know, the band room, and I thought I heard people in there, and I was like, no, I'm way too busy. Like, I have so many things to do. Like, and I was like, am I really gonna like not go say hi? Like,
Right.
and looking at the amount of time, I'm gonna get really sad, but like the amount of time that we like lost this spring, like, thank God, like I can say genuinely, like, I made the most of my time. And
It
like,
sounds like it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like just and I know like my first week at band camp, like I wanted to not go like the first day. Like, I was that kid that was like, Mom, I think I'm gonna not go to band. I'm just gonna go to school at the normal time with everybody else,
I
and I'm
remember
just gonna,
feeling like that too. Yeah.
yeah, because it's like you haven't really joined yet. So like, but
And
I
here you are
mean,
now.
the fact that I went was the, like, I think if I can point down to one thing, the best decision I've ever made. Like, going to Holy Cross was the best decision, but like the best Holy Cross decision was joining band, legitimately. Like, I think I could have, like, I love my major. I love what I love chemistry, but like I feel like if I would have found something else, I like to think, but with, maybe not, I don't know. But like I like to think I would, but with band, it's like I had friends right away on the first day of school. We had people to go to lunch with. So um I mean, Jake Marcus was in my orientation group. So
That's awesome.
like it was unbelievable. People thought we were orientation leaders. Like, it was really embarrassing.
I can see it.
They were like, is he your orientation leader? And I was like, no. And they were like, is he your brother? And I was like, I wish.
I gotta say, Andrea, Dartmouth, their Chem PhD program will be super lucky to have you show up.
Thanks, Dennis. I hope I did.
And I am very thankful for having you showing up to this podcast. So I want to thank you very much. I think we're going to close off with one last question.
Okay.
Our own little personal tradition on this very, very small podcast. For senior day on the football games, they add like a little subtitle to the Holy Cross Good Time Marching Band. So for our podcast, what would you like to add to Holy Cross Band's Downbeat with Alumni podcast?
Oh my. I'll be honest, I thought about it for a really long time. And I'm still gonna try to come up with something now. I think with all of this happening on Zoom, I think it'd be cool if you mentioned Zoom in it somewhere. So like the Holy Cross Downbeat with Alumni, Catchy on Zoom marching band.
Catchy on Zoom marching band. I love it.
I like that.
All
I
right.
like Downbeat with Alumni. Who came up with that?
Kerry.
Kerry Larkin?
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh, she's so good.
Yeah. Well, right now I have to catch the next interview with
Oh my.
Bolo. So, Holy Cross Bands, Downbeat with Alumni, Catch You on Zoom podcast. Thank Andrea for being here. Make sure
Thank you, Dennis.
to follow the rest of the social media outlets that Holy Cross has. And thank you again, Andrea. It's been great talking.
Thank you, Dennis. It feels like we're in the science library again.
Oh boy, what I'd give to be back at the science library.
I know. All right.